New couple alert. Renaissance man Harry Styles and actor filmmaker Olivia Wilde are now an item after beginning work on the highly anticipated new film, Don't Worry, Darling. Hey guys, welcome back to another shared news from home. As always, I am your host, Tyler Joseph Ellis. Before we get into all things Harry and Olivia, if you are new here, please be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell so you don't miss any future videos from us. Today, I am joined by the fabulous Fiona Zaring. Hi, Fiona.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. First and foremost, I have a very important question, maybe two questions to ask you. Are you a fan of Harry Styles? Are you a fan of Olivia Wilde? Give me the scoop.
Okay, I am a die-hard fan of Harry Styles, have been for many moons now. I think he can do no wrong. I am obsessed. I would leave my boyfriend for him in a heartbeat. And perhaps less passionately, I am also a huge fan of Olivia Wilde. I think she's great. I've always thought she was very talented. So yeah, I'm a pretty big fan all around. What about you?
I would have to agree with everything you just said. Not that I have a boyfriend, but would leave him for Harry. I'm obsessed with Harry. I'm sort of a latter half of Harry's career fan, if you will. Like
Okay.
I'm more of like a fine line, like his music sort of solo career. I really got into him, but of course, I very fondly look back at those One Direction days. Naturally. But also, I just
Don't
love him
we
as an
all?
actor, so I'm so excited. Yes, oh, don't we all? And I'm so excited for this new film. Also, I love Olivia Wilde, and I love Olivia Wilde as a director. We'll get into this, but of course, she directed Booksmart, which is one of my all-time favorite movies. I say we get into this new couple. So,
Yes, let's do
news
it.
broke last week that Olivia and Harry struck up a new romance, and fans naturally went wild, myself included. According to People magazine, the two had formed a close friendship as they began work on their new film, Don't Worry, Darling, last fall. This project, of course, marks Olivia's second directorial project after the wildly successful Booksmart, which I think I could confidently say is in my top five favorite movies. I'm obsessed with it. I've seen it an embarrassing amount of times. Harry Styles plays in the film the husband of Florence Pugh's character, a 1950s housewife who discovers a disturbing truth while in an isolated community in California. It's sort of a horror thriller genre, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm very excited. A little bit different than Booksmart, which was a laugh out loud comedy. So we'll see. You may all remember Olivia split from her former fiance, actor Jason Sudeikis, early last year. I can't believe that was already a year ago. They were together for almost 9 years, and they have two kids together. But after the split, they have remained in an amicable sort of co-parenting relationship for the sake of course, of the kids. And Harry, of course, just to mention some of his former flings, he dated Taylor Swift for a while. He dated Kendall Jenner for a while, and most recently, model Camille Rowe, who, of course, is featured in his song Cherry. Can you tell I'm a fan of Harry Styles? Can you tell? Can you tell? A People magazine insider claimed that as Harry and Olivia spent more time together on and off set, their friendship, quote, quickly turned romantic, and, quote, their chemistry was very obvious. This is, again, from an insider source for People magazine. You may remember when I sort of wanted to include this in here. You may remember when the conservative commentator Candace Owens recently went on this huge tirade, which, if you're at all on TikTok, was all over TikTok, for one. A huge tirade about Harry wearing a dress in his Vogue photo shoot and sort of attacking his masculinity. And Olivia was one of the many who took to Twitter to come to Harry's defense, calling Candace, quote, pathetic, which I think is the perfect word. Not to get into my opinions of Candace Owens, but pathetic, I think, is a great word to use. But of course, Harry has proven just as smitten with Olivia as Olivia is with Harry. According to that same People insider, quote, during breaks and filming, he wasn't able to stay away and would visit her trailer, which I love. What I would do to be on set of this film. Maybe the next one, Tyler. Maybe the next one. The news became official when the two were seen holding hands at a friend's wedding in Montecito, California last weekend. So very recent. And a source confirmed to People that they, quote, have dated for a few weeks. I just spit a lot of information at you, Fiona. I sort of want to know your thoughts on this new pair. I mean, this is a power couple in the making. Of course, I don't want to say that they'll last forever. I don't want to put that pressure on either of them. But what do you think?
I have to say, I was totally shocked. I mean, there is a 10-year age gap between them, which honestly, age is
Hmm.
just a number, love who you love.
Yeah.
But I just don't think in my head I had filed her as somebody that Harry would be dating. Kendall Jenner, like people in that age
Yeah.
bracket. I'm
Yes.
like, yeah, who's the next model? Who's the next Hollywood celebrity that he's going to go after? And for some reason,
Yeah.
I just would have never expected Olivia Wilde, but I think she is one of the coolest people out there. I mean, you said it.
Oh
She's
yeah.
so wildly talented. She's so charming. I think they're both incredible people. And, the one thing that I will say, I kind of keep thinking, aside from how gorgeous they both are and how talented they both are, and like I would be kill anyone to be a fly on the wall for any of their conversations because I'm just so curious.
Yeah.
Is there's just no way that this did not come out days, weeks, months before they would hope it was coming out. They're working
Hmm.
together right now on a project. I'm sure they want the narrative to be about the project and not about their
Hmm.
relationship.
I'm with you there.
She's split from another public figure who she shares kids
Hmm.
with. It's fresh. Like I just feel like these are kind of early days and it's very stressful for two incredibly famous celebrities to have a relationship come out in this
Yeah.
early of days. So it'll be very interesting to see if they're able to keep this private. There is a pandemic. We all are staying behind closed doors so much more. So
Yeah.
hopefully, slash not hopefully, they'll be able to get the privacy they deserve. But really, really interesting. I wouldn't have predicted this ever. But I could
Yeah.
totally see how it would work. I don't know. What are your thoughts? I kind of see where they could have some chemistry.
I agree. I think they're both trailblazers in their own fields.
Mhm.
And I always think that is so cool when two people who are individually so just brilliant minds, honestly, I think is the way to
Mhm.
put it. And then the fact that those minds are being put together, I was already thrilled when it was announced that he was part of the project. And then now just to think that like
Yeah.
that is there's a romantic element to that, is fascinating to me. I love both of them individually. I'm with you there. This was a huge shock to me. I have a roommate who also loves Harry Styles, and we have talked about it at nauseum because we're just like, we're so shocked. Jason Sudeikis is almost 10 years older than Olivia Wilde, if I'm not mistaken. So
Right.
I was assuming that Olivia would go for someone a little bit older, like Jason. I was assuming Harry would go for someone a little more his age. But I'm with you there. I mean, age is but a number, and we've seen much wider age gaps among celebrity couples. So I am, of course, wishing them the best. But your point is very true. I mean, this is early days, and then now all of a sudden we have the Harry Styles fandom involved in the mix, which is a pretty severe one. And that brings us into sort of like our next point here. As you can imagine, some of those Harry Styles fans, immediately began hating on the relationship very publicly on social media. I mean, what else would you expect? I think a lot of girls, in their minds, are also dating Harry Styles. Myself included. They went so far as to claim Olivia should be ashamed to date someone she's working with, especially in this director-actor sort of relationship. Others said that Harry definitely got the part because he was sleeping with her. I mean, just a huge mess of just completely baseless claims that often happens with people, people's fan bases, especially with people who are as famous as these two, Harry specifically. And But of course, a source told People magazine, that same source, that the pair continue to keep things, quote, very professional, and shared that, quote, Olivia and Harry created this loving and warm environment. Everyone loved working with them. She takes her work very seriously. Not that we needed any sort of inside source to know that this is true. This statement, I think, sort of just squashes all that other crap, because it's just a waste of time. I mean, he's so undeniably talented and proves an amazing actor. Hello, Dunkirk. We have not forgotten you. And not to mention all of his like artful music videos, which in my opinion require some performance. So yeah, I mean,
Oh,
I
yeah.
think their talent speaks for themselves, and anyone who claims otherwise, I think, is just salty. Understandably so, but salty. Um, and I love how fans act like this is the first time a director and an actor have dated. I'm like, really? Google it. Google it. So silly to me. But sort of, what are your sort of thoughts with this? this sort of predictable backlash. Fiona, just like your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, first of all, your point is so right. I mean, we either love an on-set romance or we judge an on-set romance, but like, there is, to me, nothing here that needs to be judged or examined. She
Yeah,
is fully capable of doing her job and being the strong, like, leader of this movie that she is, while still finding love. I think Hollywood romances on set are something that's very common. It's not a typical work environment. It's not a corporate
no,
structure here. Like, it's creative and collaborative, and people form great friendships, great romances in these environments all the time. So they're not really,
yeah,
breaking any boundaries here or creating some sort of new environment on a set. I think it's fairly common. Obviously, things have to be above board, but there's no reason to think that they have not been here. So I totally agree with you. I think we can just sort of move on from that. And,
yeah, absolutely.
the other thing with Harry's fans, I think there are just so many interesting elements of being a diehard part of a fandom. And there's
Yeah,
always going to be that side that is going to look for, the celebrity to be single no matter what, right? Because it sort of keeps the door
yeah,
open. And I totally get that. Totally
yeah,
get that mentality. But at the end of the day, as a Harry fan myself, I just want him to be happy. So if he's happy with Olivia, then great. As long as they're happy, I think we all should be happy for them. I also think that, Harry is someone who is going to, no matter who he dates, there will be so much interest and so much speculation and so many rumors. This is not something he's new to. So I think that it'll be really interesting to see how private they are. I have to assume they're
yeah,
going to be incredibly private moving forward because, I mean, you mentioned dating Taylor Swift. That was one of the biggest spectacles. I was younger then. I was all in.
oh
I
yes,
mean, it is like you're stalking them 24/7, and they were younger.
yes,
So I just feel like he's gone through a couple of public romances, and his most recent romance with Camille, I didn't see any of it. He kept it very, very private. So I
yeah.
don't know that we'll be getting too many public appearances from these two as they're working things out as it's early days. But I'm really curious to see where it goes nonetheless.
I'm very much with you there, Fiona. Absolutely. I think, I mean, just I'd be remiss not to mention that Florence Pugh is also involved in this project, and she is with also someone who's older than her, Zach Braff, and she also has gotten so much backlash with this, and I'm like, it's exhausting. I'm like, if two people are like into each other, just let it happen. I mean, because ultimately, if anyone else was in their position, I think they'd want privacy. So to quote Harry Styles, treat people with kindness.
Oh, I
Ha ha
love that.
ha. Ha ha ha. So that's actually all we have for you now. I assume there's going to be some other news involving this new couple. So, of course, be sure to follow along. We, of course, want to know your thoughts. Are you excited to see where this relationship goes? Are you pumped for this new film? I mean, if anything, I'm thrilled to see this new movie. I'm really excited. Do you care at all? That's okay if you don't. Totally fine. Please do let us know down in the comments. And before you go, please be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell so you don't miss any future videos from us, because we probably will be talking about more of this soon. So be sure to do that. As always, I'm your host, Tyler Joseph Ellis. You can find me on all the social medias. They should be down there. Same with yours, Fiona's. So, perfect. Fiona, I think that's it. Until next time.
It is.
Bye,
Until
everyone.
next time. Bye.